Hello everyone, how are you? Now it's time to start with lecture 4 in semester 2, week 22. In this lecture, we're going to cover a new comprehension lesson with a new phonics lesson. So, you will be able to read and spell words with prefixes, you will identify features of genre folk tales, you will identify the theme of a story, and you will deduce the meaning of a new word from the root words. So resources for this lecture are the phonics practice book pages 31 till 35 and reading writing workshop book pages 94 to 97. So what you're going to cover in this lecture are the lessons phonics prefixes, vocabulary. Here you could describe the topic of the section. From the vocabulary words you're going to be able to know the topic of your reading lesson, and the reading lesson title is The Fisherman and the Kaha Birds. Other skills you are going to cover are the genre, the theme, and the root words. Let's start with the phonics prefixes. First of all, what do we mean by prefixes? A prefix is a word part, so it is a word part. It's not a complete word. It is a word part which is placed before the stem of a word. So let's say that you have a small or a short word. You add a part to the beginning of this word, then you added a prefix. What does this prefix do? This prefix changes the meaning of the word. So we can say that a prefix is some letters grouped together, added to the beginning of a word, in which they change the meaning of the word. Examples of words with the prefixes: unblock, unblock. Here we added the prefix "un" to the word block, so block is the root word and "un" is the prefix. Unborn, also the same. Born is the root word and "un" is the prefix. Unchain, also chain is the root word and "un" is the prefix. Unload, we have the root word load and "un" is the prefix. Unlock. Recall, re is another prefix. Re is another prefix and call is the root word. Relearn, relearn. Resell, rewash, rewind. We move to number 11. Imperfect. Im is another prefix. So till now I have 3 prefixes: un, re, im. Perfect is the root word and im is the prefix. Indirect also. In is another prefix. Incorrect. Illegal, il together they make a prefix. Illegal. Overact, over is another prefix. Overheat. Subway, sub is also another prefix. Way is the root word and sub is the prefix. Premix, pre is a prefix. Pre means before. Pre-plan, pre-plan. And super size, super here is also a prefix. Super size. So in our lesson today we're going to cover un, the prefix un, re, im, in, il, over, sub, pre, and super. So in brief, the prefix is a group of letters added to the beginning of a root word in which they change the meaning of the word. Now let's sort some words that we have read with the prefixes. Words that use the un prefix are like unblock, unborn, unchain. Words that used re, like recall, relearn, and resell. Words that used im and in are words like imperfect, indirect, incorrect. Il and over, the words illegal, overheat, overact, use these prefixes. And subway, premix, supersize used the prefixes sub, pre, and super. What does each prefix mean now? What does each prefix mean in which it changes the meaning of the root word? Un means not. Un means not. So when you want to show the opposite of a word, you can use the prefix un. Example, unblock Unblock means not block, okay? So let's say that you have the word block alone. You want to give the opposite to it. You want to make it in the negative. So you can say simply unblock. Unblock. When we say we mean we are doing something again. You do something again. Rewash we mean we wash again. Rewash the dishes, wash the dishes again. M and N, the prefixes M and N mean not. Also like on, they mean not. Imperfect. Imperfect, we mean not perfect. Incorrect, you have an incorrect answer, we mean you don't have a correct answer. Your answer is not correct. Super means above, more than above. Okay, super size, above the size, okay, bigger size. So super means above here. L means not also, and mostly we add L to the words that start with the letter L. So illegal means not legal, illegal. Over means more than the regular level, let's say for example. Overheat, you heat it more. Overheat, we mean you heat it more. Sub means under. When we use sub, we mean under something. For example, subway, we mean underway. If you know the subways, the trains that are underground used in the United States for the people to move, so we call them subway because they are underground. For example, a submarine, the marine that goes under the water in the oceans. Pre means before. Pre means before, something that happens before, we can say pre, or before doing something. So you say here, for example, premix. Before you mix, in order not to say before you mix, we say premix. Okay? So that's the usage of these prefixes. Time to work now. You can go to page 34 in your phonics practice book to solve with me this exercise. Write the spelling word that belongs with the other words in the group. Okay? So I have the words up and down. I have a group of words. I have to put a word from the box that goes with, it's similar to them or goes with the meaning. So first one, improper, something improper, impolite. So when there's something improper or impolite, we mean it is imperfect. Imperfect, something that is not good. Okay? Imperfect. 2. Subtitle or submarine. Something related to subtitle, submarine. Okay? It is subway. Subway. Illogical, illegible. Okay, something illogical and illegible, it is illegal. Illegal. Indirect, inexact, it is incorrect. Incorrect. Supermarket, super highway, we mean super size. Overload, overeat, it's like overact. Okay, now in the same page 34, exercise B, we have to continue with the other words. We have to write the spelling word that matches each definition below. Number 1, not born. Something that is not born, we mean unborn. Unborn. To wind again. Again, to do something again. To wind again, we mean rewind. Wind. So when you add the prefix re to the word wind, it means to wind again. To sell again, resell. Sell. 10. To heat too much. To heat something too much, more than, we mean overheat. Overheat. To learn again, learn something again, relearn. Number 12, opposite of lock. The opposite of the word lock means unlock. It means unlock. 13. To think ahead of time. To think something ahead of time, before time. So you pre-plan. Pre-plan. Okay? You pre-plan for something. Number 14. Not direct. Not direct to mean indirect. Indirect. 15. Opposite of load, we mean unload. Unload. To stir before, to stir something before, we mean pre-mix. Pre-mix. To wash again, rewash. Rewash. To take the chain off. To take the chain off something, we mean unchain. Unchain. To call again, recall. Recall. And the last one, opposite of block, we mean unblock. The opposite of a block is to unblock. So now that we have finished from the phonics, it's time to move to the vocabulary part of our new lesson. The first word is attracted. The brightly colored flower attracted a butterfly. So the flower let the butterfly come closer to it, so it attracted it. It took her attention. So when you attract something, you take the attention of something. Dazzling. The fireworks in the night sky were bright and dazzling. They were bright, sparkling, and they were amazing, okay? They were sparkling, they were dazzling. Fabric. The girl's towel and the clothes are made from fabric. What are our clothes made up of? They are made from fabric, okay? All the things that we wear are made from fabric. Greed. It was greed that caused the boys to grab more cookies than they needed. So when someone is greedy, we mean that he or she wants to take more than they need. So it's not a good thing to be greedy. Honest. Leo was honest and told his mother the truth about the broken window. So when you're honest, you tell the truth. Requested. The customer requested service from the waiter. When you request something, you ask for it. Soared. The seagull soared upward high over the ocean. Soared. It's like flew over something high. Trudged. The tired hikers trudged slowly up the path. They walked slowly. Time to practice now. Use the context clues in each sentence to help you decide which vocabulary word fits best in the blank. So let's try to put the correct word in each sentence to complete it. Flying high in the air, eagle over the forest. So the eagle was flying up in the air over the forest. So we can say that eagle soared over the forest. Okay, soared. Something drew his attention in the forest below and flew down to see it. It was something colorful that had him. Something that drew his attention, we mean something that had attracted him. It attracted him, okay? So when something draws your attention, it attracted him. When Eagle landed on the forest floor, he saw a splendid piece of cloth with bright colors. So how would the colors be? Bright and dazzling colors. Okay, so the cloth had bright and dazzling colors. He knew that the cloth might belong to someone else, but he had always desired just such a scarf. He always wanted such a scarf, so got the best of him. So since he always desired something like this, how would he feel? Greedy. So greed got best of him. Greed. Okay? Got the best of him, and he picked up the piece of... So he picked up the piece of the scarf, and the scarf is made from fabric. He took the piece of fabric. Okay. Just then, Big Bear appeared, walking slowly toward the eagle. Big Bear up next to him. So the Big Bear was walking slowly on the floor. So Big Bear trudged up next to him. Okay, so the Big Bear trudged. Can you help me find my scarf, Big Bear? Requested. He asked him. He requested from the eagle to help him find the scarf, because the Big Bear didn't know that the eagle took the scarf. At first, Eagle thought about hiding the scarf, but instead of lying, he didn't want to lie. He decided to be honest. So he decided to be honest. Oh well, thought Eagle. He handed the scarf to Big Bear and flew away. Now let's move to our story or our reading lesson, which is the fisherman and the Kaha bird. You can go to your reading writing workshop book, pages 94 to 97. But first of all, let's see the big question. What are some messages in animals' stories? Sometimes you read a story about an animal, and you know that animals do not talk or do not act, but sometimes we read such stories. And when you read such stories, there is a message you learn from these stories. So, whenever you read a story about an animal, be sure that there will be a theme at the end of this story. How would you describe this squirrel? Brave, greedy, foolish, or clever? Based on the picture in front of you, how would you describe this squirrel? Okay, answers might vary because each one would see the picture from a different point of view. But to have a better idea, let's watch this video together.
What are some messages in animal stories?
Literary lessons. What are some messages in animal stories?
What story is Dog telling his young friend Fawn?
What story
Maybe it's about how the rabbits became friends with the farm animals. One brave rabbit started playing tag with Cat, and now they play every day.
One brave rabbit started
Goat and his rabbit friend sometimes butt heads, but even when they disagree, they know they're still friends. Unexpected friendships like this can be strong because they take more work.
Unexpected friendships like this can be strong because they take more work.
Okay, I think now that you got a better idea, we can move to our story. The fisherman and the Kaha bird. Long ago, there lived an old fisherman who made his pitiful living catching fish. All day, the old man sat on the river bank waiting for the fish to bite. But he never had more than 1 or 2 small fish to sell at the market. He and his wife were always hungry. One morning, the tired old fisherman trudged slowly to the river. Suddenly, a great bird with bright, dazzling silver feathers settled in the tree above him. The delighted fisherman knew this was the magnificent Kaha, a glittering bird that occasionally appeared to help the poor or the sick. I see you work for very little reward, the Kaha said. I wish to help. Every day I will bring a large fish to your house that you can sell at the market. The old man couldn't believe his luck. As the days passed, the honest Kaha kept her promise. The fisherman sold the fish and came home with plenty of food. Soon he was bringing home clothing made from brightly colored silk fabric for his wife. At the market one day, the Shah's crier made an announcement. Find the great Kaha for our eminent Shah and receive a reward of 50 bags of gold. The fisherman thought, if I had 50 bags of gold, I would be rich. But how can I betray the bird? He argued with himself until finally his greed for gold blinded him to the generosity of the Kaha bird. He told the Shah's crier about the Kaha and requested assistance in catching her. He asked for 400 men to help him. That evening, 400 servants followed the fisherman home. They hid among the trees as the fisherman set out of feast to tempt the bird. When the Kaha landed in a tree, the old man said, Come dine with me, dear friend. I wish to express my gratitude. The Kaha, touched by the fisherman's kindness and attracted to the delicious meal, flew down to join him. Immediately, the fisherman grabbed the Kaha by the feet and cried out to the servants to help him. The startled Kaha spread her wings. She began to fly up with the fisherman pulling at her. A servant caught the fisherman by the feet, but the bird rose higher. A second and third servant grabbed onto the first until soon 400 servants hung by one another's feet as the Kaha soared upward. Looking down, the fisherman could just barely see the river below. If he hadn't betrayed the Kaha, he would not be in this predicament. There was but one thing to do. The fisherman let go of the great bird's feet. The servants and the fisherman tumbled from the sky and landed in the river. It was many weeks before the fisherman had healed enough to fish again. Every day the old fisherman looked up at the sky for a sign of the beautiful silver bird, but the Kaha was never seen again. Now that we have read our story, let's finish with the genre, the theme, and the root words. The first skill that we have to start with is the genre. So our selection, our story, The Fisherman and the Kaha Bird, is a folktale. Why do we call it folktale? First of all, when we have a folktale, we know that it's based on traditions and beliefs of people. So when the story talks about something that people believed long time ago, we call this belief a tradition. So it's a folktale. Also, it usually teaches a lesson, and this lesson is taught by animal characters. So they use animal characters to teach you the lesson and to symbolize or represent a human quality. So here in our story, how did they represent the kindness? They represented the kindness and generosity by the Kaha. The second skill is the theme. What do we mean by a theme? The theme is the central message or lesson that an author wants you to understand. So in every story that you read, and especially folk tales, you would learn a lesson at the end. So the lesson or the message that the author wants you to understand at the end of the story is called a theme. To identify the theme of a story, you have to look closely at what the characters say and do. Okay? The last thing is the root words. As you read The Fisherman and the Kaha Bird, you may come across a word that you do not know. So look for the simplest form of the word, the root. This will help you figure out the meaning of the longer word. So whenever you find or you face a long word which is new to you, you have to look to the root word, the main word, and when you get the meaning of the main word, then you will understand the meaning of the longer word. Example on the genre, let's take this short paragraph. The tiger, the Brahmin, and the jackal. The jackal said to the Brahmin, I understand that you agreed to let the tiger free if the tiger agreed not to eat you. He turned to the tiger, and I understand that as soon as you were free, you said you would eat the Brahmin anyway. But I still can't understand this cage here, the tiger snarled impatiently. Foolish jackal, how many times do I have to explain it? He said. He walked into the cage to demonstrate how it worked. As soon as he was inside, the jackal closed the door behind him and locked him in. The jackal turned to the Brahmin. I think you should leave this cage closed, he said. So think of it. What lesson do you think this folk tale teaches you? So first of all, the genre of this short paragraph is a folk tale. And this paragraph or short story teaches you a certain lesson. Think, what lesson does it teach you? Whenever you want to think of a theme, before you reach the final theme, there are certain details mentioned in the story that would help you know the lesson that you must learn at the end. So this organizer is used to fill in with the details that lead you to the theme at the end. So read the story again and think of it. What theme does it teach you? And what are the details that led you to conclude this theme at the end? This is an exercise on root words. Read each passage below. Write the root word and the definition of the word in bold. Number 1. Anansi was a spider who had 6 children, each with his or her own special ability. Okay, think of the word ability, the bold word. What is the root word? What do you think the root word of ability is? Ability comes from able. So when you are able to do something, you can do something. Okay, so what is the definition of ability? Ability is something that you are able to do. So ability means something that you are able to do. Number 2, such a wonderful thing, exclaimed Anansi. I know just what I will do with it. I will give it to one of my children, but which one should I give it to you? So, what's the root word of wonderful? Wonderful. Okay, wonder, it comes from wonder, something that is amazing. Wonderful, it comes from wonder, from amaze. So the root word of wonderful is wonder. Okay? So we have reached the end of our lecture for this week. I hope it's easy and not complicated for you. Watch it again and get well prepared for the worksheet to solve the exercises related to it. Read the story again in your book. Don't forget that. Bye bye.